2nd, 2019 meeting to order.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Chair Bennett,
Here.
Vice Chair Windley,
Here.
Commissioner Avila, here, Commissioner Traxler,
Here.
and Commissioner Plamondon is absent with prior notice.
Okay. Approval of the agenda as is. We've asked for 1 and 2 under E to be changed. Correct?
Yeah. Do you need a motion for that?
Do you want to move off the agenda as of today, or you want to move to?
No, she just wants
Let's
to
put 2 to 1.
change, she just wants to
Just-
put,
number 1.
Okay. Well, it is actually. We have public comment and then it is, right?
public comment and then updates.
Oh, sorry. 2 and 1. Motion.
I'll motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. And I will open it up to public comment. Okay. We will move on to Margaret Dalton plaque at skate park. Sharon.
Hi, Sharon Long, 621 Fairway Drive, Ione. So you, I believe in your packets have an overview document of the
Yeah,
income
last time.
for the skate park?
Yeah.
Oh, she did the whole thing? Okay. Well, anyway, this was back in 2001, and I was part of the driving the committee to get income for this, solicit income for and donations for this park. And so when the city asked me, when this came up on the agenda, if I wouldn't just kind of document what, where it came from and a little background on what happened. So if you have that in front of you, you can see that my point on this whole thing is the fact that the largest percentage of the income came from Ione sources or was sourced by Ione. One of the first places Dan and I went to make the presentation, and I made that presentation, was to Margaret Dalton and the tribal heads. And they were the first people to give us a major donation of $50,000. Prior to that, though, the city had already given us a pledge of $50,000 with the land that they designated for the skate park. So my point on all this is the fact that there was a grant for $232,000 that was actually paid for and written by a representative of the city. There was a City of Ione playground grant for $23,000. There was a fundraising event for $12,000. The Rotary gave us another $1,000. $50,000 was pledged for the City of Ione, by the City of Ione, and then other in-kind donations, which aren't on your list, was another $4,400 from Recreth for aggregate, and Ciro Toma, who gave us donated the survey for the site. So, although the donation for the Jackson Rancheria was very generous, and we really appreciated it, it was really only a very small percentage of the money that was raised for this park. So the point on all this is that most of this came from the City of Ione. So, and I guess it's never formally been dedicated, the skate park hasn't been, but my personal recommendation would be that it be either designated to the youth of Ione or just be the City of Ione skate park. So anyway, if you have any questions on this, again, it was 2001, so I'm not sure I can answer all the detailed questions, but that was basically the.
No, I think Dan's point was more that without Margaret Dalton's donation, that it wouldn't have moved forward because that was where the architecture area came from, that you needed that initial donation. I feel like I'm screaming.
Yeah, that could be, yeah,
So I think that was why he felt she was the first one to
Yeah.
jump on board and be like, yes, we can do this.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, well, it's your decision. Again, it's my personal feeling that the majority of this was done by Ione residents and solicited in the City of Ione. So.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What would your recommendation of being a name for the skate park,
City of Ione Skate Park.
City of Ione
Yeah,
Skate Park.
I just think that it's within Howard Park and it's within the city limits. And I feel like Ione really, stepped up for this whole thing. This whole thing started with a bunch of kids, a whole bunch of kids coming to council and begging for a park. And from there, I kind of set up the committee to start looking at how could we raise funds and what could we do. And then I made the presentation, but Dan and I went all over the county too, promoting it. We had a ton of publicity on it. We also had a workshop with all the kids about it. Devil and Bishop Hall. We gave them clay and told them, build us a park. Like, what do you envision as a park? So there was a lot of thought that was given to this thing. But, the push and the majority of the work was done by the city of Ione. So,
Yeah.
Are any of those kids still around?
oh, they're all, no, they're all grown and gone. The original kids are. They're all in college or, that was 2001 and we're in 2019.
No, I was just thinking maybe we can get some input from them,
Oh.
since they were the original.
Yeah, so, no, I don't know, again, well, Janice's two girls were very involved, they were skaters at the time. And when we had the grand opening, we had hundreds of people at that grand opening when we opened that park. It was just really well thought of, well received when it came, so we had some really well-known skaters, skateboarders that actually came out to test the park out because it was publicized throughout the websites of all the the different skaters and skate parks. So it was it was well received when it was open. So
Okay. And did anyone ever hear whether the Dalton family even wanted the skate park dedicated to Margaret? Like, I don't
understand exactly where the.
Yeah, I don't know where it started.
I know where it started. It started with Dan Sinclair.
Yeah. And Dan did set up the appointment with the Rancheria, and we went in. And it was a very good meeting. So, but I had a regular PowerPoint presentation that I did all over the county. So anyway, but at that point, we had already had the 50,000 and from the city, so that was a good starting point. So the total cost of the park was over the 372,000. And the two grants really helped a lot, so that was a huge chunk of money, so.
Okay. Any questions?
I'm kind of wondering, has anyone asked the Dalton family or the,
They were going to, but if we chose no, we didn't want to ask and then not.
Until you make a decision.
And then, yeah, basically it was kind of where it was. It was if they say, yes, we'd like it dedicated, but then we choose no, it just seems
Yeah,
rude.
I agree.
And I think it's the city's decision as to what they
Yeah.
want to do, not the Dalton, so.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd be very flattered, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying, and she was a wonderful, wonderful person. They do a ton for the community, and I so respect them, I really do, so.
I was just thinking that the new Dalton Foundation is so dedicated to sports in the county.
Yeah,
Just thinking.
I know. Okay, any more comments?
I don't even know if they're aware of this, but I don't know.
I don't believe that they are, to be honest with you. I don't think that they are. I think maybe it came from Dan directly and he just brought it up and put it on the agenda.
Because he was part of that, he was
Yeah.
part of that whole thing he did, so, yeah.
No more questions?
No.
Has anybody talked to Dan
Thank
Sinclair,
you.
asking him why he decided to put this on the agenda?
Well, he was here last
The
meeting.
last meeting?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, I was here last.
He's the one that brought that whole package in. It's a personal thing with him, I understand that, but.
Yeah. Okay, I'll open it to the public.
Okay.
Did you have more questions?
No.
Did I cut you off? Public? Nothing from the public? Okay, they're not looking for an answer tonight, right? This is just, we were getting an update on it, or?
You can recommend something tonight, but I don't think you have to.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready to make a decision on that. Are you guys?
I'm ready to make a decision, but I move we table it till the next meeting.
Okay, all right.
I agree
Sam?
with that.
Okay, yeah, you need some updates on
I
that.
mean, yeah.
Yeah,
we
okay.
need to
Are we
talk
getting
about that.
minutes from the meetings?
Not
Mary?
yet, no.
Okay. Just checking, because I missed the one before that, and I had missed quite a bit, and so I didn't have a place to go to find it, so just. Sorry. Okay,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Just keep in mind that our next meeting is not until January.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
okay.
Well, I mean, the skate park's been there for how long?
Yeah.
If we wait till I'm just saying, it's not a rush situation.
You know, I do have one other comment. Hold on
Sure.
a second. 'Cause, yeah, I was out there today again, and you know, there's no disclaimer on that park at all. We used to have a set of kind of rules. You have to be careful that you don't stipulate or control it too much, because then you become liable, and we
Yeah.
don't want that to happen. But somebody ought to research what you should be posting out. There's nothing
So
posted.
I
out
was there yesterday and thought the same thing, because we
It's
run
been
a,
going for a long time. There was a sign originally, and it needs to be a sign, I think, too, that.
at your own risk, yeah.
Yeah, and it needs to be something that's durable, not, you know. piece of
Just
whiteboard.
graffitied on that someone did the other day. Or
You mean
There was a sign there years ago, but
Yeah,
it's
when we
since,
first opened it.
it's
yeah,
since
but
been
it's
long
inside
gone.
The,
they
Yeah.
graffitied it,
oh yeah, there's,
someone washed over the top.
Yeah, I saw that, some of that too. Yeah. Anyway, that
They were
just, from the
creative.
liabilities, you might have somebody check on what
What to do
you
over there.
should be saying.
it would probably be our attorney. All right.
Good idea.
Oops, I'm sorry.
Any more public comment? No? Okay, so, we're gonna just motion to table?
yeah,
You need a
I
second?
motioned already.
Second?
Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. That will be on our next agenda.
Thank you, I have to leave.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Have a nice dinner.
Okay, and then updates? I don't know who's in charge of those today.
I have a small one that
Okay.
I can give you. The tennis basketball courts did not go to,
Accra?
to the board of supervisors.
Oh, why?
It did not get put on the agenda. Either they couldn't fit it on, or it wasn't put on for whatever reason. So John is going to go to the next one to present on it.
Okay.
Okay. And that's next Wednesday.
Yeah.
And what other things did we ask for updates on?
I think,
Larry?
I don't think, I can't.
I usually have it in my,
I thought there was something else, but I couldn't remember.
yeah, I usually have it on my thing, but I forgot my last packet. I have my big
It
book
was
instead.
probably something to do with the arena, but we already have the arena on the agenda, so it's probably be covered then.
Dog park, Ivan,
Yeah.
Yeah, dog park.
traffic flow.
So we do need to put that on the dog park. I gotta remember, there's been glass in there, just FYI. Yeah. Okay, so moving on from updates, if we have nothing else.
I can't think of anything right now.
Public comment? No? Okay. So 3, parking at Ed Hughes, and that's a big one we all know. Has been for years. Okay? You asked for that to be on, right?
Yes, ma'am, I
Okay.
did.
And,
The reason I asked for it, to be honest, I think, I was over there again, wasn't last week, the week before. Week before, and we talked about that area that is south of the current parking lot, which is south of the snack shed.
I
That
have a
would,
map with you. I don't know if that'll help.
wow,
here,
that's exciting.
It's hard.
no, it's over by the snack shack side of soccer.
Right, it's all,
over by the arena where they enter.
it's all cleared land.
Yep. So here's our soccer fields. It's
Which is
this,
all-
it's this.
It's all, no, it's here.
Oh, where you want to put the parking, yeah.
Yeah, and it would make a perfect place for trailers to go in there and.
I think it would be a good idea if they opened up and landed from Brickyard.
Can you show it?
Sorry. So,
You're not going to meet her.
So this is where our soccer fields are, right here. Okay, soccer fields.
There's a stack shed in here, here's where that little pond is in here.
Yeah,
This, all this land has been cleared out in here,
yeah.
even farther back.
Yeah, you can't, like, you can actually see all the way through it right now. They've cleaned it.
Guys out there the other night, and it was all, I saw it was all clear.
It's just like someone went in there with a, I don't know what it was.
So my only concern if you did that is you'd still have that same issue going by the arena that kicks up all the dust. So they're talking about coming in over here off of Wildflower and cutting in here, which then makes that a kind of a moot point because you can't get there. Now, if you came in off of Brickyard, that would make a whole different, like you wouldn't enter by that.
The only thing about coming up with Brickyard is the tracks are right there.
Yeah, but we move tracks all the time.
Not that track,
I'm
because
just
that's
kidding, it's still used.
still in use,
Yeah.
Plus,
because,
isn't that outside of the city limits, this street?
Brickyard is?
it's county road.
But we're only getting sued for the railroad track thing, so don't even talk about crossing a railroad track.
No. See, you can't, that's the reason you can't,
No, I'm just kidding.
the only other way, you just can't do it. You need
So
it.
even if you came in over here, I
That'd
mean,
be,
you'd still have to
but-
figure out a way over to the parking.
right, but what, another thing that was brought up is we needed a way for the soccer to get here without going through
But without going through here.
the arena over here.
And there just isn't one right now.
That's what I say, that's why we're talking about,
Well-
or think, that's why coming off of Wildflower for soccer moms.
And dads.
There will be an entrance eventually once Wildflower builds out 100 homes. They
But
have- they have
no,
to
and
open
I
up for them.
understand that. However, if you wanna put parking over here,
Mhm.
and your entrance is here, you still have to get all of them, and if
No,
you,
no, if you still could still bring the parking for the arena, you could still bring, the parking for the arena, you could still bring through there. For, over here,
are
over this way.
are we having issues with, there's not enough parking for arena? I haven't heard that before, so that's why I'm
There's some
asking the question.
overflow.
It's just,
Cars coming in.
Part of it, the biggest problem, I think, is the traffic coming through there, is that correct? The traffic
Right
coming
now-
through there when you're trying to have an event?
Right now, that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, that's what I
Well,
go.
and so it's been a problem
Yeah,
forever. Soccer and the arena have always kind of gone head to head.
yeah.
But after this week, isn't that over for the season?
Yeah, we have Jamboree and then it's over. Yeah, so this is the last week. It's usually from August till,
So we won't be
And-
talking about it again until next year.
well,
It'll
and
be all set
there's
again.
bigger problems than just soccer and the parking. It's the dust that's kicked up from the arena, the trailers, as well as soccer and baseball, because baseball then comes in and if you go by there on a Saturday morning,
Oh,
it looks like a fog has come over Ione, and it's not, we've tried, we put in the, what is that roading, the stuff we put in, the
chemical that.
yeah, and it worked for a short period of time, but it's still kind of a mess. Like it really is bad. Like you drive through there, and if you don't have the way through soccer, through the arena side, the only other way is around Evelyn Bishop. There will be an accident there, in case nobody knows, because there's no in or out that's right. They all go, it's stupid.
Well, you could,
Need to open up the horse track.
they could open up you could open
The
up the
baseball
horse
side,
track.
they don't, yeah,
Huh?
they don't.
Why don't,
Yeah, but did they control that? Why can't we go in there and say, hey, we're gonna open this, it's gonna be an access road?
I used to have a key to it, I don't know.
the horse tracks
It's the
used
same
to
way. It's
be
not
the way to get
open.
around.
Yeah.
And you could go in right up there
Where
below the
baseball.
skate park, where baseball goes in, and drive right down to the soccer fields.
Mhm.
I believe that they originally shut that off
Because
because
of
of the
dust.
dust.
Yeah.
It was even worse when they were using the
Yeah, when
track.
those pickup trucks go in, they're even parking crazy back in there. They're parking all the way back into Wildflower too. In fact, they were on top of, when that
Yeah.
whole water thing exploded that one week, Saturday, where water was shooting up 10 feet up in the air.
Yep.
Then they had, one of the vehicles had parked on top of the valve to shut that
The
off.
city valve there.
Yeah, and the city couldn't shut that off. It was still, they lost thousands of gallons of water that Saturday.
There needs to be a permanent solution with paved
Right.
roads. Eventually.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
that's like, but it is a mess out there. So, did you want to speak?
Well, I just heard it was on the agenda.
Yeah. Well, I'd like your opinion if you want to.
Oh, gosh. You're talking about the parking in the corner, right? For
That's
trailer
what I'm trying to
parking or RV parking.
That's my whole thing, yeah.
Or,
RV,
both.
trailers, whatever, yeah.
well, you can't have horse trailers going down Brickyard. Or is it Brickyard that runs this way?
Yeah.
There's no way those big trailers, because those streets are not wide enough, because I live back there. And so I couldn't see horse trailers turning down Brickyard and then trying.
I'm more concerned about the soccer people staying out of the arena area, that's what I'm more concerned
And they're
about.
not going to. I mean, it's been, even if that's your only real entrance, the only other one, like I was saying, was around Evelyn Bishop, and
I
it's
put
not.
sawhorses up, because they're driving around the arena as well.
Mhm.
And I'm out there usually at 7 with the water truck, just, I must drop probably 6 loads.
See, that soccer used to do the water truck. I haven't
They
seen.
stopped doing it, and they did do it again last Saturday, but they're so rushed for time,
Yeah.
and I said.
Well, because the park
I'll
only,
do
it opens at 7, right?
Yeah.
That's when they open the park, and our first games are
Or
at 8.
6:30, yeah, so open it, but I told them, I said, I'll do it just to keep the dust down, because it is bad.
Yeah. And
Even
it's
before
not really
horse
soccer's
shows.
fault or the arena's fault. It's just
just
the
the
way it is.
dirt
It's our
roads.
entrances. They are where they are,
Yeah,
and that's what our park is right now. And until we have a
Well,
solution,
I'm with you on paved roads,
well, but that paved,
I know.
it's big dollars.
You could probably get your
Where's
buddy to
Margaret
donate
Donald
rock,
here?
just so you
Right.
know, because if it was rocked,
Not
it
here.
wouldn't have a dust problem for a long time.
Say that again, please? If I could
Talk
get-
to your buddy that's coming out to help you, they'll probably give you a couple,
I asked
loads of
him,
rock.
and he said all they had was clay and sand.
they'll buy a rock. We'll find someone with rock, because if it was rocked, that's a cheap way.
US Mine is offering, or we're talking about them leveling that overgrown pen where there was an obstacle course there, and now it's just tar weed up to here.
The one that's got the fence around it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's usable space, but
Right.
it's kind of a mess, so, Guy Reed stopped by and, I talked to him about it, and he said that they would come in and level it all out and take all the debris away. Yeah. But, yeah, soccer's over in October, and we'll just figure it out.
Yeah, but we'll be back with the same thing next year, I mean, when it comes back around again.
Yeah, well, I agree though. I know there's going to be an entrance over on the Wildflower side, but if I lived over there on a Saturday, I'd be angry. I mean, I just would be. I would
I'm
be
already
angry
angry over
that you have the entire county driving on my frontage road
Yes.
on a Saturday, parking in front of my house, being like, it just.
And it's a tight street
Yeah.
now.
Mhm.
There are all of those streets back there.
Well, when the entrance comes off a foothill, of course, I imagine it being very wonderful, but it probably won't be. They'll come in off a foothill and not go into the
Yeah, that
Wildflower.
would be nice.
No, that it would be Brickyard to Foothill. Foothill's that frontage right in front of Wildflower.
No,
Oh, you're right.
No, I sold a house, I
well,
did a
the-
loan on a house
dead
right
end,
there.
Where dead ends. Yeah.
Well, if it comes in off of 104, is that where it's supposed to
Yeah.
come in,
Yeah.
not off of Brickyard?
Right. comes
And there's
in
not gonna be
104.
any houses further down?
Not unless the guys that own that land over there allow it, because they're holding on to it like
Hmm.
it's really valuable.
Isn't there a way where soccer could come in the same entrance and divert this to the left and?
There's no exit. The only exit is around Evelyn Bishop on that side, other than the original entrance, which technically is the entrance to that side for soccer and always has been, soccer and the arena. Because we're not really supposed to go around Evelyn Bishop, they block it off all the
Right, the
time.
little side.
And so you can't even always get around it,
But
which
they
then
do.
brings
They-
you around the arena,
they drive
and it
around.
brings
Is that
you.
why?
That's why, they block it off, yeah. And so you can't get through.
Yeah, and people get lost.
I almost drove off the side this morning, just so you know. Sun was right in my eyes, and you know how it goes right down, and you gotta go around to get through it? I couldn't even see that it went down. I didn't drive off.
But as far as making that parking, I brought that up with John as soon as I saw him clearing it. I thought that would be ideal for parking, you know, for not even only just overnight horse trailer parking. Let's say we have a big event and we want to charge them for overnight parking for other events, for soccer events, for baseball.
I'd like to see that leveled, I'd like to see that area
Yeah,
leveled out.
rent that out and make some money and then.
at least as a start.
Charge everybody to drive in there. Sorry,
Yeah, you bet.
charge it.
Or would have a shuttle service from.
I'll shuttle them.
I'll Uber them in.
Yeah, and we're still a small little Ione community. Let's not get crazy.
It doesn't feel like that sometimes.
Well, and Saturdays are bad.
Come in by the
Saturdays.
train. They can park at the junior high, hop the train.
It's not gonna happen.
Not a good idea.
Okay, so
So,
Good charge.
I will just, so I've been on Parks and Rec now for 7 years, long time. This issue, Larry, how long has this issue been on our agenda? Comes up every 6 months, the parking at Howard Park. It is a big deal, and one of the big things is our track.
Now we have an arena manager that's really.
Well,
wants to have-
but we've had arena managers before, and the arena can't just come in and say, hey, now we're gonna change everything because we have an arena manager. I mean, soccer's been there for 15 years, and you just can't say, oh, sorry, you guys are done, you're in.
The
It
biggest
just
thing
is.
is the dust.
Well,
For me, so.
but it is for soccer too. That's why
Right.
they put in half the money for when we did that chemical in there. It wasn't just the city. Soccer paid a lot of money
No, I
to
see
keep the dust down.
I see the dust over on the soccer field as well.
Yeah,
I
it's,
mean,
it's
it's like a dust
everywhere.
bomb.
yeah. Howard
I mean,
Park
if you
is.
had a drone over the park in the morning with that.
Well, even, and then they spend a lot of money on gravel between the baseball fields and the soccer fields every year to keep the dust down. They do all sorts of things, but that only lasts for so long.
So long.
And as long as that track is not allowed to do anything on it, it's dust. It just, I don't know how else to say that. Larry?
I would think if the city wanted to, they could ask the state for the grindings. And they could use grindings out there, and if you put them down right, you can put oil on it, and it almost works like asphalt, especially in the low travel. And-
Well, how would people feel though that have horses? Because
Well, I don't think it'd hurt them, because
Okay.
it's small. And you could do it just through their part, 20 feet wide. You wouldn't have to do it on the side, you
Oh,
could
yeah.
just do it on the center
Right, that's
lane,
true.
and it'd stop the dust. It wouldn't stop the people from speeding, but it would do
Yeah.
away with the dust.
Yeah, but speed bump will do that.
Well, and as far as the
Yep,
speeding thing goes out there, I think it would do well to have a few Saturdays with a police officer on that road, period.
Yeah, but
And
I'm
they're,
just saying, I think the dust problem could be taken care of, because they do a lot of grinding, and a lot of times they can give it to public agencies, they can't give it to private individuals anymore.
yeah.
Because
Grinding the asphalt, the old asphalt is what.
Yeah, they grind it
Yeah,
up,
sure.
and you spread it right, you put it about 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick, and if you have an oil company, even if you don't do it, it'd help, but you put oil over top of
We'll
it,
seal it.
it kind of blends it back together.
They did it, they put a bunch of it at Silver Lake, and they didn't oil it or anything, and it come out wonderful.
Yeah.
See, and again, it's just the track people
we
have.
We have, what I say is, the state would work with us on that, no problem.
Oh, yeah, because they looked for a place to get rid of it.
Yeah, yeah. I
There was
mean,
a bunch of it
well,
sitting
they
in the
gotta haul it
Kirkwood
back to the
parking
plant,
lot.
it costs them money for the haul time.
Well, and here's the other thing that's occurring on the track that I've never seen till this year are the big holes, because that wood that was underneath it is deteriorated now.
Oh, yeah.
So the gophers have now, and there's holes,
Oh, yeah.
and they're deep, like you can't see the bottom of them, and it's occurring throughout the track. I walk on the track all the time with my dog.
That's just one thing that's there, so I wouldn't even think of that, but I would just think the gravel,
I'm just saying with horses, like if you have horses going on there, they're gonna hurt
asphalt
themselves.
would work.
Who would you contact, Larry?
No, I mean with the big holes.
You would
They're getting
contact
bigger
the
and bigger
foreman
and
here,
deeper, yeah.
Rick?
Rick Johnson, and talk to him, and he could arrange it, and actually, they could bring it probably clean from Silver Lake down here.
Yeah, because the dust is an issue at the fields. It's
It's
always
there.
been an issue.
But I mean, it's here, somebody all those take the mask, thank you.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank you.
Larry.
Thanks, Larry. Who is Rick Johnson?
He's foreman.
He's a foreman.
Oh, Caltrans. Ah, good.
Okay, anything from commissioners? You've been on here as long as I have, longer. And this has been a hot button.
That and the pool,
That and the
and our
pool.
budget.
I know.
Can I ask a question? Is it okay, what's the deal with the track? Is it okay to, if we were to put grindings on top of that track?
Well, it would depend on who you spoke with.
So some people are like,
The track is
a personal.
Historical.
no, it's a
Historical.
historical track because they say Seabiscuit ran on it, but he did not. His owners ran on it.
It's not only that, it's the biggest track in California
the-
before the turn of the century.
The 1
Right.
mile track, yes. And
It's
it's,
not just that.
no, but I understand, but
Yeah.
it's just, they don't want it destroyed at all. They want to make sure that it's preserved and not hurt. How's that? Like, they don't want to pave it. They don't want to pave across it. Like, if you see even where the baseball did their,
Well, I think it's registered, that's the whole thing with the state.
I don't think it is.
I don't
is it?
think it's
Oh,
registered.
I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
but-
I really
don't know.
don't.
I wouldn't argue, but I don't think it is.
Oh,
I
okay.
think that's one issue, is
I
it's
think
not
that's one of the
registered.
issues that, you know, because the people say that Seabiscuit ran, well, Seabiscuit never ran, and
Yeah.
what's his name had a lot to do with the track. But the track, as far as the track being a track, there's about 15 feet of it right now that you could
Well,
recognize.
that
as a-
track was put in before Seabiscuit was ever thought of.
Right?
Oh, yeah, by far. But that was one of the things that came up a few years ago was, well, Seabiscuit ran here. Well, no, Seabiscuit didn't run here. But it's neither here nor there.
I love our track. I like it as it is, dust only because it's not as hot as when you do put any kind of concrete or asphalt on it, it will be hotter. Just saying. However, I understand why we need it, because I'm part of that dust bowl too.
Reminds me, pave paradise and put in a parking lot.
Right? So,
Good idea.
all right, this won't be something we solve this evening. I understand the issues, but I do think we do need to figure out something, and I think cops should be out there because people do fly down there. And it's not just on Saturdays, it's during practices, I've seen cars parked on the field. I don't know why people feel they can just park on the field. And if I yelled at everybody who brought a dog out there for soccer or parked on a field or whatever, I'd be doing it all day long, so. And that's really up to the league. And Mary, that is something we should discuss with the league.
I thought they already had.
They have a big,
Rules and regulations in place for not bringing animals.
they do, but the last 2 weeks
Nobody's
there's been 2
enforcing it?
big giant German shepherds at soccer, so I'm not really sure.
Yeah, there's big signs out there that say no.
No dogs on
the
fields or
field.
during sporting events.
Well, and I
Yeah.
was gonna say, even the league themselves.
They do. The league has a huge insurance policy. You're supposed to forfeit your game if you have a dog on your side. But nobody's saying anything.
Wow.
Yeah, coach, that was one of our things. If one of your family members brings a dog, you get rid of them or you forfeit your game.
That's-
That's-
Anyway.
And I like that idea.
I like that idea.
So, there's a few things that I need to, just because I'm out there all the time, that we need to bring up and maybe talk when we do with the leagues each year. A couple of update things. Anyway, any more from the public on parking at Hughes Mall? Okay. Commission members, future agenda items. We tabled one, the plaque.
Actually, pick the plaque back up,
Yeah.
update on the tennis
Tennis.
courts.
And
Bring the parking back, keep talking about it.
the parking.
I think I should stay on.
Put this grain in the ground.
Well, like some of you that wouldn't know, I would kind of update yourselves on what's been proposed in the past and why it's been knocked down, and maybe bring some different solutions.
How do we do that?
Do you want to read this? No, so you need to maintain the track as is currently. Like, that's one of the things people want. They want it to be able to be horse friendly. They want it to.
It's not horse friendly right now.
I agree with you. The horses run on it all the time though, because I see their stuff. There's a lot of holes, yeah. But just come up with solutions for a track. There's been proposals to make it a track for racing again.
Motocross.
Motocross. Wildflower would love that. So, anything else anyone wants updates on or wants to add to the agenda? If you do, we'll email you, Mary.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh, glass there's been a lot of glass at the parks. I don't know why. And then trash was overflowing all over the park this weekend. I don't know if they had parties, but like outside the baseball fields, there was trash everywhere. Outside the park, people left all their balloons from birthday parties and their banners. Like they just like cleaned up half their stuff and left the rest of it there. Yeah, so.
And there's no bags for dog poop at the dog poop park.
I swear people.
They
Take
must
them?
steal- They must steal them.
The other thing
That's
is,
nuts.
up by the fountain at the dog park,
Mhm,
there's a trash can that was put there.
mhm.
Well, where do you think everybody puts the poop?
in that
Do you think
trash
they
can.
put it in the bin down by the dog bags? They're putting it in the big trash can, and so it reeks. Yeah, and so I don't know why that trash can's there. It shouldn't be there, because they have the dog dispense thing. Somebody
Well, I
just
think
put it there,
somebody
like
asked-
it wasn't there, it wasn't supposed to be there, and someone
Somebody
just,
asked to have it there, I think,
But
it was
for what
Lori or,
purpose?
yeah, I'm not sure.
yeah.
I mean, to
So-
put trash in.
Just so people know, that's what they're doing, that's what and so the park stinks, and there's a bunch of glass. Someone, I don't know who's going in there, but there was glass and dogs aren't. It's not good for their paws, so. Anyway. So how about cleanup at park? We should do it.
At park, period.
Yeah.
Dave, I have a question for you. Maybe off the agenda tonight, but have you heard anything back about moving the train from the folks in Sacramento? Or-
Yeah, we talked about that.
Oh, yeah, you
Last
were,
meeting.
That
Yeah, we'll update you, Angie.
Okay.
The cost was prohibitive,
over,
Really?
it would be over 100,000.
extremely. And then the Nexus study, I want an update on that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that too.
We can't really move forward on a lot of the depot park until that occurs, right? We need that finalized.
Yeah, and I'm not sure
Wow.
where we are.
Some of it, but some of it was really holding up, is supposed to get some grants, we need some money.
Who's writing your grants?
City was supposed to.
Yeah, the city hired a grant writers to,
Well, I know, I just asked John about it at our last meeting and I didn't hear a lot of response on that, so I don't know. So,
so Nexus study update.
Nexus study update and grant update, how's that? I got your back, Larry.
How many, Larry, how many grant writers did the city hire?
One.
Just one?
But then they also have that database that we purchased, right? That's a whole grant,
Oh, I do remember that, yeah.
right? And that's what she utilizes to find the grants and write them?
Know more about it than I do.
Well,
They were
and
supposed to
honestly,
do
I
that.
write a lot of grants for schools and stuff, and today they're just a form. They're not even necessarily it just depends on where you're, I know.
Project.
But in general, a lot of them are, yeah, so, anyway. Okay, motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
I second. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.